maybe a little bit of an interesting strategy here. Rick Carlisle, the head coach of the Indiana Pacers, decided to take a different approach. A lot of times we criticize the officials, and we meaning coaches in the NBA who want to get a call the next game. They're critical of how the fouls were laid out and who got more free throw attempts, et cetera, et cetera. Rick Carlisle took a different approach and defended one Scott Foster.
I think it's awful some of the things I've seen about the officiating, and Scott Foster in particular. I've known Scott Foster for 30 years. He's a great official. He's done a great job in these playoffs. We've had him a lot of times. And the ridiculous scrutiny that's being thrown out there is terrible and unfair and unjust and stupid.
I like the approach. Butter him up. Start defending the guys.
I'll say this. I get it. You know, some people feel as though they need to step in these type of situations and defend and justify. And sounds like there's some personal feelings connected there in his reasoning. And listen, to say you're stupid if you're questioning how officials officiate, I would have to say, you know, in that moment, Rick, like, I don't take 2 more seconds to think about that one. I mean, okay, defend them, say, you know, your opinion is that you feel as though the scrutiny on officiating and one particular referee is unfair in your estimation. But to say that it's stupid to have feelings towards how referees call games in the NBA, that might be considered or qualify as a stupid statement. I ain't going to say he's stupid. I'm just going to say that's just not that's not a super intelligent, informed, you know, conclusion to how referees ref in the National Basketball Association. That's what I'd say.
You know, it does feel like though the standard approach, if you wanted to get some calls the next game, I think Phil Jackson was one of the greats at this, is that, you know, you'll maybe through the media question, you know, it seemed like, was hoping we could get a few more calls here, but, you know, I think they missed a couple, so on and so forth. You know, kind of passive-aggressively dance around the topic. And instead, Rick Carlisle's like, no, I'm going to ball wash these guys. I'm going to defend them. And then hopefully in a pivotal Game 5, we'll get a couple of these calls coming up later on tonight. I mean, this could be a real difference maker in the NBA Finals. Good for Rick Carlisle. Different approach. Take that approach, Rick.
Maybe it is gamesmanship. I mean, if you're looking to get calls to go your way, I mean, I've never seen a team get the right call unless they were getting the call, right? Like you've never felt like calls went your way unless a call was called for you. You know, the fans feel that way. Unless the call is for your team, it's a bad call. The referees, I've never seen a game where you felt as though – it's funny. I remember one time I went to a game and I was watching the game. And I started on one side of the bleachers and was listening to the game, complaining about the referees, the officials, and the way they're officiating. And went and sat on the other side of the stadium for the second half of the game. Guess what I heard on the other side of the stadium? Parents, fans complaining about the officials officiating the game. Both sides, home, away, both teams, everybody is going to have a problem with the calls that they're not getting or the calls that go against them. That's just always been the nature of the game. The problem with NBA officials is that the stuff that they be doing sometimes be so egregiously bad that there's no way to get out of, you know, saying that they're not culpable for some of the things that they've done and some of the calls that have been made, and how heavy or how shifted it can seem in terms of how the game is being called. Who gets the calls, who doesn't get the calls. I mean, that's just part of it. And there's no getting through that.
It also doesn't help that they once had an official who also was part-time, because his full-time job was he was a degenerate gambler, and decided, well, I'll try and fix games that are playoff games to boot. And Scott Foster's name was one of those names kind of thrown around as maybe he knew a little bit more than he let on, according to some people. So Rick Carlisle, interesting approach. We'll see if it pays off coming up later on tonight with the Pacers and the Thunder in Game 5.